All right, it's first weekend in December. We've had a lot of rain and cold weather, a lot of wind this week. Out here on the lake, just gonna see if I can catch some bluegill. The bite for bluegill's been really bad. We had a lot of diving birds and hingas and cormorants come in here in the spring and just clean this place out. A lot of bigger bass though, which isn't really helping. We have a lot of shad too, so it gives the bass something to eat, but the bluegill really have to hide. A lot of cover around this lake, so we'll be fishing the edges of the cover with a Berkeley Gulp, see how that works, and see if we can catch anything, get it in the boat. All right, so what I've done, this is a 1/16 jig head. Same thing, cut the collar off of it to avoid tearing up my gulp too much. Looks like the fish are right on the bottom, and since the bottom's kind of a little slope to it right here, I'm gonna take this Berkeley Gulp, fish it without a float, and just run it really close to the bottom. Got a couple hits from smaller bluegill earlier, but gotta let it sink. It'll sink kind of slow with this thing. Just watch that line. A lot of brush right here, so it's probably gonna get hung quite a bit. Hardest part about, let me get this on the camera. Hardest part about taking the collar off is every time a small bluegill hits it, it's all sideways, but I don't know if you can see the little dividing line right here. If you put it on the collar, it'll split. And I know that I've seen some guys, Richard Jean especially, using dental floss, super glue. If you're gonna fish a jig all day, good idea. I change these out so much that I'd have to just rig the jig head by itself and not put a bait on it until I was ready to fish. Yeah, they're hitting the top of the water in here. Just a matter of getting one to bite. There he is. Oh, that's a bass. Ooh, that's a bass. That's a sizable bass. Yep, we're going for a ride. Golly, we are probably not going to land this fish in this kayak, I don't think. This is why I wish I had a kayak with a rudder. That's the only thing we can do. Paddle around, let him pull till he wears out, land him. Not putting a ton of pressure on him right now. That tells you these bass. This is a huge bass, he's way out there. And we just got broke off. That was a monster. Straightened out the hook. But a large bass. Well, not bad. 4-pound test line, 1/16 jig head, and a 1-inch minnow. Get hung up with a monster. And one of the things I've been meaning to do with this kayak is take it back to the guy where I bought it and get a rudder put on it for that exact reason. Get started, they pull you around. I got this Kaku Waihu kayak after watching a bunch of reviews, and let me tell you, it's been a really good kayak. Really good kayak. Our other kayak is a Hobie Pro Angler 12. Obviously the top of the line fishing kayak there is. In that kayak, I would have been able just to run the rudder, let this fish pull me around the lake till he wore out, but can't put a lot of pressure on him with these little hooks. But, you know, take as much drag as she was, going to be a matter of time before she either got off or broke me off. So we'll throw back in and try to catch something more manageable on 4-pound test line. Got a little wind pushing us. Got to get sideways to it so you can see where I'm throwing in here. A lot of sticks in there, real easy to get hung, but usually the bluegill and the bass hang out right in the mouth of this thing. Smaller one, probably a bluegill. That's what I'm talking about with not having a collar or any kind of keeper on here. It kind of slides it, but it doesn't tear it up, which is critical on these things. See, now you can see it's starting to split right here when I pushed it up on the collar. If I had one complaint, that would be it. These gulps are bad about splitting. So we're gonna put another one on here as we get in close to this tree, and got a stop here to kind of stop us. Be careful in these kayaks. So you get up on an underwater structure, it will flip you in a heartbeat. We'll make one more cast back in here and see. I had a bluegill hit it coming out. Let's see if I can get another one on it. All right, well, we're back out here in the afternoon. Rain run me in, but wind is really laid down. It's about 4:30 now. We'll go back over and hit that spot where we caught that big bass, but I want Jake out here with the real bass equipment, so we'll see if he hangs it, if it's back in there. But I'm gonna go back to these gulps. I got some blacks and some smelts in there together. Fish a little micro crankbait right here. Oh, I keep getting hit right here by the boat. I don't know what it is. Got to be a small bluegill chasing it out. Yeah. Little bass.
Oh, he's up shallow?
Yeah, he's up there in that grass right there. I hooked him under the chin. Tiny. Man, these little bass are loving this little micro. The wind pushes us up in the grass. Careful. Yeah, he got that one all up in his mouth. Throw across this point. This is a real shallow point right here. Bring it back in past that grass and see what happens. There it is. Yep, that's where they're sitting. Right in here on these little grassy points. Not a big bass, but may not be a bass. Oh, no. That is a nice panfish right there. Almost got him in the eye, but I think we can fix that. There we go. Come back. I'm gonna let you go. Come back. Come back. Well, that's what we came out here looking for. Nice big bluegill. Big bluegill. Bigger than my hand. Work this edge since the bluegill seem to be in shallow, and so do the smaller bass. A lot of grass in here though, I can feel it hitting stuff. All right, there we go. Here we go. That's a nice fish. Get a look at it. It ain't coming up high like a bass. It may be another big bluegill. Ooh, good run, good run. That's a bass. That largemouth. That fish was in extremely shallow water. No, he's good. A couple of pounds probably. He's just pissy. No, I got him, see? I just don't want him to snap and take my little jig with him, or my little crankbait with him. He's wore down now.
Pick him up and put him in the middle of your kayak.
I got him. There we go. Crankbait fell out of his mouth as soon as I picked him up.
Yeah.
There we go. See where it tore the top of his mouth? Either that or you caught this fish before, probably. And away he goes. All right, well, we're heading back in. Get a little bit dark for filming anyway. Last bass was a good fish to end on. Not a bad day. Cold front come through. Water temperature's dropped a lot since I was out here this morning, hung that big bass. But as you can see on the little micro crankbaits, caught that really nice bluegill, caught him on the front treble hook, and caught several bass. So not a bad afternoon. As I said this morning, obviously if you get any wind or big fish pulling like I had, the rudder's key. I'm gonna do a two-part review on this kayak. I love this Kaku Wahoo kayak, but I am gonna take it back down where I bought it and have the guy put a rudder on it because it's necessary. You get a big fish, wind pushing you one way, fish pulling the other way, you get sideways. Made it really hard. If I could have stayed nose into that fish the whole time, I probably could have wore it down until I got it to the boat, but as it was, I was lucky to keep her on as long as I did. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.